Good evening, YouTube. Welcome to another edition of the Best Kept Secret on YouTube, the most insightful, most entertaining, the best boxing YouTube show there is. And if you don't know, now you know. Triple T, your host, Trash Talking Tom, as he's known around the way. Thomas Delamuth, how you doing?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm doing great. You know, doing great. Fake it till I make it, like they say. You
Yeah.
know, we have a special guest here this evening, joining us from around the way from the BX, junior middleweight contender, set to do battle on Wednesday on Pro Box TV. Ismael Villarreal, how are you, brother?
I'm well. Another day, another dollar, like to say.
That's it.
Minus
We're about
taxes.
Well, yeah,
minus tax.
yeah. Don't talk about that. I don't like taxes here.
Oh my gosh, that's a sidebar. Is Ish just recently got a job, right?
Yeah.
And he called me after he got his first check. He's a single man, no kids, no dependents. He makes pretty decent money. And he said, "Yo, is this right?"
I mean, technically,
Uncle Sam.
it's not right, but it was right. It's not.
It's legal.
It's not right.
It's not right, but it's legal.
Well,
You work so hard for the check, and then you see them deductions, and it's like,
Yeah, man.
it's not right. You
It's
what I'm
not
saying?
right.
what it like being a citizen, right?
Yeah, man.
Body citizen. Take
Yeah,
on
Yeah.
to work on the
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, man.
Right.
But let's talk about what we're here to talk about. Ish, 12-1 record, right?
That's right.
12-1,
It's
8 knockouts.
8 knockouts.
8 knockouts.
Looking to bounce back, get back on the winning streak. You're fighting. Where is it? You're fighting this Wednesday.
I'll be fighting Florida, Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
Okay.
Against John David Martinez
Yeah,
is the opponent. Tell me how camp has been so far, and what's running through your mind. In the next couple of days before the fight.
well, we had a little bit of a different camp. I started working with my grandfather. He came in, gave a helping hand. He'll be working my corner as well, including my father. My father's still working with us, of course. But yeah, we've been working more so on the mistakes that we did previous fight, which I was aware of my mistakes, but there was more things going on rather than just mistakes of boxing, of course.
Okay. Now, you your grandfather, he's not a new jack to this sport, right? He's been around for a long time. Your uncle is Justo Sencion, right? Former lightweight contender in the early 2000s. So he's been around the game. You come from a fighting family. Your father, uh, Otilio Villarreal. He fought some of the best fighters of this era: Zab Judah, Kermit Cintron, the late great Macho Camacho. So you come from a boxing background. Um, how is that in terms of how just your upbringing and what's your earliest recollection of boxing? When did you pick up the game?
Man, yeah, with that statement that you just made, yeah, I definitely come from a boxing. It's crazy how it goes from my grandfather, from my mom's side, and my dad also his side of the family. Well, considering I have uncles that are fighters from the Ecuador side, yeah, I got fighting in my blood. I would say the first recollection of maybe boxing I have was seeing my pops train. Um, Maybe when I was like 5, 6. I would say I would go to the gym, but I understand. what I'm doing there. But but memorizing, seeing my pops train, now that I'm older now, I can put two and two together. He was, training, getting ready to fight, whatever the case may be. I remember him in jump roping, shadow boxing, and how skinny he was too compared to now.
So your dad has been in your corner since day one. Is this the first fight that your grandfather works with you?
'Cause not include for a professional bout, yes. Amateur. Well, he never worked in my corner, but he was always helping me out in my amateur days. But never worked in the corner. This is the first time he worked the corner now.
Okay. Um, I, like I said earlier, we're trying to get back on the winning side, right? Uh, would you care to share a little bit about your last fight and what do you see this fight against a different opponent, obviously, but what do you see different coming into Wednesday?
Well, I'm just gonna, continue my pressure. Always gonna continue my fighting style. Of course, just adjusting to different forms and understand that some fighters are just not gonna fight with you. Sometimes it's gonna move around, and that's okay. Because that's part of boxing. For this upcoming fight, I don't know. I'll see, depending how my opponent comes out, I'll see how I'll fight. Usually that's how I do it, but I guess for my last fight, there was so much what you call it, not promotion, but so much eyes on me and so much interviews I had to do and focusing on that and focusing on the media, all that is like it's cool, but it's like I think it was a little too much for me if I'm being honest, because I'm one of the person that I don't like being too much on the camera. More of a timid guy that just like doing my own thing, but having so much of that on your face, I think I lost a little bit of focus on that, and it's a learning experience from that, but it's cool to see how these fighters or any celebrity at that could maintain themselves after doing so much interviews and basically repeating the same question, answering the same question, same answer pretty much. And I would say I learned, not to focus too much on that and understand as well that sometimes I don't have to do an interview if I don't want to. Not to be, like an asshole, but it's like something like if I had enough for today, then that's enough for today, and just
Yeah.
take it easy, focus on what is important, you know.
So, I mean, that's a very honest answer. I mean, a lot of people may not be as open as you just were. It was a learning experience, right? First time fighting on the big stage, Showtime, a major network. Um, you know, you made a mistake. The one thing is that you learn from it, right?
Definitely.
Um,
I mean,
it, it,
it was a good exposure to fight on Showtime, and I hope to fight on the Showtime again. But definitely it was a learning experience with it being my main event as well. It was pretty cool. It was like, seeing your name pop out on TV and you're just like, oh hey, I'm the main event.
mhm,
Pretty dope.
right.
Did you
Um,
did you did you feel like you were pressured in any way, like being in the main event of this is your first main event in a showcase? Like,
I mean, nobody pressured me to do anything.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, of course, I say like I wasn't like nervous. I'm, of course, nerve wracking, especially TV. You want to be, you want to look good, sharp on that platform because everybody's watching. Compared to just nobody's watching. But okay, but you don't want to make no mistakes. And I would say that I did make my mistakes, of course, but it wasn't anything that I would say that was major. But those minor mistakes I have to fix because now that I'm being exposed more so on television, there's more fighters, I'm pretty sure, watching me and coaches studying. So I got to keep that in mind that I can't just come in with the same approach, same game plan. I have to have multiple game plans for that. Because if I fight the same, then everybody that studied my tape, they already know how I fight. So I can't just be always fighting the same.
Yeah.
Keeping that in mind.
What I noticed the last fight you fought, the guy was Andreal Holmes. He was a bit taller than you were. This next fight, I don't know anything about this guy that you're fighting, but I did see that he's taller than you as well. Do you think your last fight, that experience, the last fight, will help you in this fight?
Well, compared to my previous opponent, he was definitely like, I don't think the height played a factor because we had about the same. It wasn't really so much about the height. But this upcoming opponent, yes, he's taller than me. Usually everybody's taller than me, which is okay. But I'm pretty sure I have a longer reach. Usually I have a longer reach. For this fight, I think it should be. I don't want to say it should. I don't want to go in there having that mindset where it's like, oh, it's an easy fight. No, of course not. Because of my last fight, I would say just go in there and make as least mistakes as possible. And because anything can happen in there, so I'm just gonna go in there and make the least mistakes and go in with my game plan that we planned.
Okay. And is this going to be a 10-round fight?
I wish. Well, I wanted to continue to fight 10 rounds, but the network, they have their own schedule, so we're doing 8 rounds for this
8
one.
rounds. Okay. And have you seen this guy on tape? Have you seen anything?
Yeah, I have. I've seen a few of his fights.
Okay.
That were out there. I've seen a few tapes. Good. He's a good fighter. I'm not going to say he's a bad fighter. He's not a stupid fighter. I feel like I can do what I got to do.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was saying, and we'll be able. This is going to be showcased on TV, right? We'll be able to see this live. Pro Box. Okay.
I'm 100% sure. I hope. I think it's on the YouTube live. I'm not really sure.
I think I've seen fights on Pro Box before. I think
and I think they have their own network.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure. I haven't really looked much into it. I haven't really put much attention on the media.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really trying to focus on too much on the media. Just been chilling.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
if people find it, they find it. If they don't, I don't know. Because I did say maybe it's on live on go on Pro Box TV on YouTube. Maybe it should be there. I don't know.
Okay. I'll look into it to be sure. Do you mind me promoting it if I do find it and let people know?
That's part of me.
Okay. I know you're focused on your job, right? So, and your job is to beat this guy up. So,
Certainly.
But if I do find it, I'll promote and I'll put it out there so people, can check you in.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I know you for a long time, and you're very humble, you're low key, but you're expected to do your thing against this guy. And this was a fight that actually was supposed to happen before the Holmes fight, right? If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And so everything's happens for a reason. So this guy's destined, to meet you. Pro Box TV, I think it's a subscription. I think it's pretty affordable. I think it's like $2.99 a month. So anyone out there that wants to check it out, I think it's worth it. They put out some good content also. Paulie Malignaggi does a podcast on there with Chris Algieri. So it's I mean for $3 you can't beat it. You said from your last fight you learned from your mistakes. That in boxing is not only to win but to win impressively so that we can get back on the network. Is that on your mind? And how are you able to balance the two between winning and looking impressively?
Yeah, man. About that, like I always been told. Well, I haven't been told, but I just feel like everybody wants to look good. Everybody wants to look impressive, stylish. But sometimes, there's certain fights that you just can't look stylish against certain opponents because of their way of their fight. Sometimes they could be unorthodox, really awkward, and it's like, sometimes you got to get the win the best you can. For this fight, of course, I want to showcase more so of my boxing ability that I didn't get to show my previous bout, because I know I can box, not just just be a puncher and that's it. I know years. I know I could box. So maybe showcase a little bit more of a boxing. But sometimes, some people don't want to see boxing, man. Sometimes people just want to see you kill this person, head off.
Yeah.
So it depends, it's really hard to please. You get on one side, you got people that want to see the stylistically boxing, fundamentals, and then you got these people that want to see a knockout, and then there's always like a third part, and it's all over the place.
Cool.
A friend of mine in the chat, he posted the link. This is the link to the fight Wednesday. So they already, I guess, they promoting it or whatever. But that's the link there. I guess I'll do, I'll look into it more after, and I'll do something on Instagram if anything, and to help promote it as well.
Cool.
Cool.
We know you got to get to bed soon because and we appreciate your time. Yeah, you're flying out of New York tomorrow, right?
That's right.
Anything on your mind? Anything you want to say in closing? Is there anything that you see like the rest of 2023 playing out in your career?
After this bout, I most likely have another fight coming up. So just trying to finish the year, with on a good note. With my last fight. Well, maybe my next fight will be my last fight for 2023. So I just want to finish those two fights and the year 2024 on to the next.
Nice.
Cool, man. Triple T, anything on your mind?
No, man. I just want to thank you for coming on. We look forward to having you too. Before you got on, Saga, we were speaking about maybe, doing some collab with, because I was telling we had Raul Marquez. Maybe I get Raul, maybe his son, Maelo. You know what I'm saying? And we just chop it up here on the channel if y'all would like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know you're representing your family, you're representing your friends, your gym, but you're also representing, the Bronx. We take big pride in that, you know what I'm saying, as New Yorkers, where we're from. So, we appreciate you, and, we wish you nothing, but the best of luck. And, we know you're going to do well, and we know you're going to win this fight.
Thank you. Thank you, Thomas, for having me on your show. I would definitely like to appear again. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So,
yeah, man.
Appreciate you, Maelo, man. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you, and good luck. And I'll tag you on any promotions I try to do on Instagram.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, champ. Go to sleep. All right.
Yeah.
I mean me. Thank you for coming on, boss.
All right.
Triple T.
Good look for that plug. That was, great. Obviously, just so people know out there, Sock, you're not the trainer, but you do work with Maelo. You are his strength and conditioning coach. And, and you work with other fighters as well. Just, you're not just here on the channel just to, be my co-host and, and talk shit with me, but you are in the business of boxing. You have a, you have a great connection, and you work with some of these fighters here in the Bronx. So, for you guys out there, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people in this YouTube world that does content and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I'm always willing to collab and, have anybody on and join up with and stuff like that. This is the guy right here, my Dominican friend, Mr. Palmer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got to correct you though. I thought I was your brother, but it's all good.
You are my brother.
Okay.
You're my brother from another mother, but
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Maelo's personal. I mean, I've been with Team Villarreal since he was 16, and he's 26. So we won the gloves together. Pro debut. A great moment was winning by knockout at the Barclays Center last summer. So
that
that's
was
right.
And that was an upset. He was there to
Yes.
lose. He was fought that.
Yes, he was brought at the B side. Against LaShawn.
Rodriguez, I think is
LaShawn Rodriguez from New Jersey. He's a heck of a fighter. Golden Glove fighter. So obviously I'm biased. I do believe Maelo's going to do well on Wednesday, and then coming November.
Mr. Shelton says, "So got hands."
Yeah, man. I got a pot belly to prove it. So I'm very good with a knife and fork. That's for sure. Yeah, man. So it's this guy is a means to an end. I'm gonna put it this way.
Yeah.
My ask anybody in the tri-state area. I mean, Maelo has been in the ring with just about anybody. Big time prospects. He's sparred with Devin Haney. He sparred with Richardson Hitchens. The list goes on and on. And there's no one that hits harder than Maelo. There's people that can hit hard, but no one hits harder than Maelo at 54. Trust me on that.
Didn't he? I should have asked him this too, because I did. Did you say he fought Berlanga in the amateurs?
He fought Berlanga when they were kids. Yes. He fought him. I think they were like. I mean, I say kids. They were like 16, 17. Yeah. They definitely. They fought.
And I know I remember you did. I should have asked him about that, because you did.
He fought about 3 times.
Yeah, he sparred with Devin Haney. You did tell me that. I should have asked him about that too. The experience.
Yeah, I mean, he's a humble guy. I mean, you're not gonna hear anybody boast. But he's never gonna boast about himself. He does his talking with his fist, and I believe that he's gonna look impressive. And there is another date set, hopefully in November, at an arena that's known by 3 letters here in New York City. So let's see what happens. One thing at a time.
I listen, and if that happens, we're there. So,
in the building early.
Well, because he'll be fighting early, most likely, but yeah, early. But
he actually may be a little later. So, I'll let you know Thursday. Put it that way, or Wednesday night.
Wednesday night after that. I'll be watching. Maybe I'll do a I don't know. Let me think about it. Maybe I'll do something. I'll do live. I'll do a commentary or something. Let me see if I can, how that would work with that, because it's on YouTube. So let me see how I do that. But yeah, that'll be dope. I'll purchase it just to watch the fight. I could have sworn I've seen fights on that before. Actually, I think Main Event Mark, who's in the chat, was the first one to tell me about it. I forgot who it was fighting, but I could have sworn he told me about that pro box before. So.
Yeah, no, they've been doing good. They've been doing good. They're based out of Florida. They have had shows out of Puerto Rico. I think Mexico as well. At one point, they had a lot of big names. They had, if I'm not mistaken, they had Antonio Tarver, Roy Jones, and Juan Manuel Marquez, and Paulie as part of a big roundtable podcast.
Okay.
That has shrunk for whatever reason. I don't know, but Paulie Malignaggi's on there with Chris Algieri, 2 of New York's finest, and I believe, and in my opinion, Paulie is one of the best in the business. He should still be on Showtime. In my opinion, but
we're not going to get too much into that, because a lot of people in the chat don't really like Paulie, and you probably know why, and they're not going to like you if that much.
Well, I fucks with Paulie, man. I know Paulie's my man. For a long time as well.
Me being objective, I always like to hear what everybody has to say and where their point of view is. And Paulie is good. I think Paulie knows boxing, but Paulie does say some out of pocket stuff that he has to be held accountable for. That's just my opinion. But a lot of people say stuff too. You know what I'm saying? But Paulie's he's a smart guy. He knows boxing, but he says some controversial things as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem. But me, I'm a different person. Everybody's different. Everybody takes things more serious than others, and and read things their way. Me, I try to see what their point of view is, and I try to respect everybody's opinion. You feel me? So like,
Absolutely.
if you like this person or don't like this person, and you give me a good reason why, I can respect it. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but I can respect it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they say some out of pocket stuff, then I'm gonna let you know, like, you shouldn't be saying this or saying that, and these are the reasons why. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. I mean, everyone has their own personal experiences with people, and I see a question. So is Villarreal Puerto Rican, Ecuadorian? No, his mother's Dominican, and his father's Ecuadorian. Yeah. His like I mentioned earlier, his uncle is a Justo Sencion, who fought Julio Diaz on HBO, KO Nation. He was a lightweight contender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And boxing's in his veins. Let's talk about the weekend. We had a not a big weekend of boxing, but a good weekend of boxing, right? You want to do a little roundup?
Some solid fights. I think Friday night was pretty good. I was happy to see Xander, of course, right?
Right.
I'm biased to the Puerto Rican fighters. I thought Xander looked pretty good. I thought he looked better than his last fight.
100%.
The guy that he fought was game. He was moving his head more. That's kind of like one of the problems I have with Xander. I think he keeps his head kind of like in a straight line a lot. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't move as much, but I thought he moved his head, pretty good. I thought he moved well, obviously the punching power is there, and he's still a kid. He's still, I believe he's still only 19. And he's
a little older. I think it's 21. No. I think he turned 21. Yeah.
Okay, I don't even think he's 21. I'm going to fact check that with Google and double check.
Ask the smartest man in the world, Google.
But I thought he looked good. I thought he, they're bringing him up very nicely. Oh, he's 21 years old. You was right. He must have just turned 21. Okay. So my apologies, sucked right again. So
I got that bad habit sometimes. I'm sorry.
One thing you wasn't right about today was your picks.
We're talking boxing.
Okay.
You coming out of left field.
We'll wait till Friday then. Friday we'll go back to football. But you want to be a smart ass, you know what I'm saying? By the way, thank you guys. Old school Will, thank you. You know what I'm saying? You did bring them luck. That was a good win by my team. But Sock says we gotta stick to boxing. So I just want to say, go Hawks. So Timber and Camera, thank you for coming through. Salute. Shelton, you're a hater. Fuck the Niners. Sock, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. I thought Xander looked good. He took care of a game opponent. Ugly cut on the nose. I mean, that was reminiscent of Jorge Arce and Hussein from about 10 years ago. That was the last time I saw a nasty cut like that on the bridge of the nose.
Yeah.
And Zayas, he looked sharp. And that's what you want to see in a prospect. A guy improving, getting better and better. Like I said before, no promotion brings up a fighter better than Top Rank. Just look at the history. Nobody, and
they do well.
Superb,
yeah,
superb. They've always had
their guys look. They make their guys look good. They pretty good. You know who I really liked? That I don't know if anybody's talking about Vargas' son, Emiliano.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be.
He seems like he's like the crown jewel of the family, right? There's the three brothers fight, but he seems like the blue chip.
I think he's going to be the best one. I think he's got a real good future. I like how he saw. I like how he moves. Mind you, what was that, like his 7 or 8 fights, something like that? He just fought last month too, so he's being active. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So But I just wanted to bring that up. Emiliano, yes, Mark, he looked good. I like him. I think he's going to be.
He's a lightweight, right?
Yeah.
135. Yeah, he's a. I mean, hey, he's got the DNA. He's got the last name, and he's got the machine behind him. So it's sky's the limit. And seventh fight, he's doing what he has to do, and you can only see him improving. So people
getting at me.
People want to talk football, huh? people like that pigskin, huh? I tell you what.
If the Raiders, you be talking pigskin right now too.
Not really, because I gotta compartmentalize. But I tell you one thing though, the Rams are not as bad as people think. I mean, they played the Niners tough. I mean, they win the game until the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
and that's without Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed with the Niners. Obviously,
so let's see what happens when Cooper gets back. And I guess
the Niners have a very tough game, I think, on Thursday.
Short turnaround against the New Jersey Giants, who pulled out an excellent comeback win against the lowly Cardinals. Bad teams know how to lose games, right?
They really do. The Cardinals look terrible. I mean, they started.
They looked great in the first half.
In the first half, and the Giants looked terrible, and then it was just a whole 360. But I expect the Niners to stomp over the Giants on Thursday.
Now, the Giants have the advantage that a lot of teams don't. They played in the West Coast, and they're going to stay out there, obviously. So, they're in Arizona. They're going to hang out there for a little bit and then make the quick flight to San Francisco. So it's not going to be that traditional, 3,000-mile trek out to the West Coast. As if some people do not know, there's certain families that run the NFL, and the Maras are one of them. So that was good scheduling by the NFL, and that type of win, you never know, that could gel a team. I mean, the Niners obviously on cloud nine. Boza, the Grand Master is a beast. The Grand Wizard. Debo Samuel. Now, if Saquon Barkley can't go,
that's the problem, because he looked banged up at the end.
He looked banged up, but Daniel Jones was slinging that rock. So he may catch an overconfident Niner team. So,
I mean, I would hope so. And I don't like either team, but I hate the Niners more than anything. So.
That's such a traditional rivalry too. The Niners and Giants. So many great battles in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, just unbelievable. On Monday Night Football, Mark Bavaro still carrying, Ronnie Lott. Roger Craig fumbling, Lawrence Taylor picking it up. So, just reminding, who's that gentleman that's a 49er fan in the chat room, Sheldon?
Mr. Shelton.
Mr. Shelton. Just in case he forgot,
Oh, don't forget
Matt Barr,
Leonard Marshall with the hit on Marshall. Don't forget about
the hit heard around the decade. That ended the three-peat.
That did.
That ended the three, and there's no doubt about it. The Niners would have three-peated. It would have been
that game. The Giants didn't score a touchdown. That was the NFC Championship game. They hit no field goals that game. So it was like 15-13 was the final score, something like that.
One of the greatest sneak plays of all time, Gary Reason's direct snap on the punt. But the tuna being the tuna, it's amazing. Bill Walsh has all the rings, but Parcells always did well against the Niners.
Yeah,
just But anyway, let's stick to boxing. So
just said the Chargers. I just want to throw out the Chargers gave away another game.
I love it. 0-2.
Yeah, of course, because that's your rival. That's your division rival. But the Chargers.
Love it.
0-2.
Love it. So Top Rank had a good showing. The main event was Joel Gonzalez, who is the bridesmaid of the featherweight division. He came up short again.
Yeah.
Against help me out.
Luis Alberto Lopez.
Yes, Luis Alberto Lopez made another successful defense. Now the ESPN card had Joey Gonzalez winning by a round.
Which is weird because I watched it because I didn't get to, we was live, so I didn't get to see it. But which is weird. Now, yeah, Joey Gonzalez, he came on strong in the later rounds, but I didn't think it was enough. I think it was a good decision. The cards were a little bit high, but I think the right guy won. Joey Gonzalez was bruised up, his face was messed up too. I think, but later on in the fight he did pull on strong, but I thought the decision was fair.
So do I. So do I. I also caught I caught a rebroadcast. That's one of the good things of ESPN Plus. You catch it anytime you want.
Yeah.
Joey Gonzalez gave a Joey Gonzalez type of performance. He's never out of a fight. He never embarrasses himself. He's just not good enough to get over the hump. I wonder what's going to happen with the rest of his career because now at this point, he's probably like a gatekeeper. Probably a stepping stone guy for the next hot shot at featherweight. I can't see him with any success if he tries to move up. Because he's not a great puncher. So his losses have been to Shakur Stevenson, Isaac Dogboe, Emmanuel Navarrete, and now so he's not losing to Joe Schmo.
He's losing to top guys.
To the cream, right?
He didn't get stopped either by
exactly
guys. I mean, he's just the guy that you can just say he's just going to be a bridesmaid for never a bride.
And it happens. I mean, there's guys like that. Trying to think who comes to mind. Angel Manfredi was kind of like that.
Yeah.
He had his moments. Although Angel had a little bit better career than Joette up to this point, but just it happens. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think of one guy that always fell short, and he finally won a title, Ishe Smith. So maybe he could come on later on and maybe win a title. Ishe didn't win a title until the very, very end of his career.
Yeah, late in his career, he beat K9 Bundridge. Yep. That's a interesting comparison.
Yeah.
So it just happens. You wind up in the wrong era sometimes.
Yeah.
So that was on Friday night, and there was also Showbox, right? You had a mild upset.
Showbox, I did not see the card. I heard there was an upset. I did not get to see that card though.
Right. The Showbox, it was an upset. Pedraza got knocked out, right?
Yeah.
I forgot who. Right. So that was Showbox is a great show. It's they have always maintained their identity, which is they showcase prospects. It's been the springboard for a lot of careers, and they put good competitive 50-50 fights. I wish they promoted it better. I think Showbox has kind of been better than Showtime Championship Boxing in the last couple of years. So that was on Friday, and then Saturday we had William Cepeda against Mesito Hester.
Yeah.
William Cepeda's a bad boy.
I think he's a bad boy, but I got to see him fight somebody that's going to hit back and somebody that's going to move. This guy. Mm-hmm. How old is this guy? Like he was 30, 36?
35. 35. Mesito Hester, yeah.
And he's been in a lot of fights. I mean,
a lot of miles.
Yeah, I mean, Cepeda is a fan-friendly fighter, right?
Yes.
Guys like to see fighters like Cepeda, but I want to see him fight somebody that can move or somebody that's gonna hit back and move and not just stand there. He looks like he got an engine that's nonstop, but I want to see what happens when he gets hit. With somebody that could punch too, because Hester was hitting him, a few times with some nice solid shots too. So
I think Cepeda is the type of guy that's when the fight starts.
When he gets
he kind of had a slow start because Mesito Hester is not a terrible fighter. He of course, he was branded as the next Pacquiao because he came out, he was a Freddie Roach disciple and.
Mm-hmm.
And he was with what's his name? Freddie Roach's right hand man, the Filipino fighter.
Yeah, was he there? He was there.
Samodian. Yeah. So and this Macisto just came up short. They had the common opponent in Jojo Diaz, but William Cepeda is someone that he's not somebody that people are going to be calling out because he throws punches and bunches. He could bang. Like you said earlier, he's a good TV fighter. He's ranked across all the sanctioning bodies, so he's probably he's on the cusp. Between obviously Tank Davis, Devin Haney, who's now relinquishing those titles.
Yeah.
Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin. He's in the mix, and it's going to be interesting to see where Golden Boy matches him up next.
You know what's crazy? He called out Haney, and I guess he's not aware that Haney has moved up to 140. Why is it you think that all these fighters, 135, they come up and they don't call out Tank, don't call out Shakur, I mean, I understand he's is it because he's the undisputed guy? Is it because he's a champ? Why do you think they always call out Haney like that's the guy that, like Charlie Murphy would say, like I'm the dude you could steal on, right? Like why is that? Because they were real adamant on fighting Haney after last night.
I think because if I'm going to get inside the mind of a fighter, the guy that could punch is always the last guy that you call out. And, Devin Haney gets by with below average punching power. And that's not a knock. I mean, there's been guys that have been successful without being tremendous bangers. But Devin Haney is seen in that way. Also, the fact that, I mean, you can call out who you want. Devin Haney's never going to fight at lightweight ever again.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. But I think that's probably the two factors. Devin Haney's not a big puncher. He's not going to hurt anyone. He's not going to, Tank Davis could change your career.
Yeah.
Teofimo Lopez, when he was a lightweight, could change your career. So, I think that's probably has to play a part in it. Shakur Stevenson is not necessarily, he's not starching dudes.
Yeah.
But he's got a way of making you look really bad.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a way of making good fighters look below average, like he did with Jamal Herring, Oscar Valdez. So, and stylistically, he's not a guy that's going to engage. He's not going to make a good fight, in the most part. So, I think that's any of those reasons you could choose from.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, who would you like to see as a better fight? I mean, right now we got all these vacant titles pretty much. Everybody's fighting for the vacant titles, right? Or maybe you want to call it, now we're going to call them email champs because nobody beat Haney for the titles. But after those titles are like established and somebody's got them, would you like to see some better fight one of them? One of the champions, or would you like to see somebody like maybe a Pitbull Cruz or somebody, right? Like
that's a great fight for television, and that's a very sellable fight.
Yeah,
they could, that fight could do a big house at anywhere in California, in Carson, at that Home Depot arena that they use in Carson, California. I mean, once again, you get into the politics of boxing. If Golden Boy wants to, get in bed with PBC again, that's a great fight, great regional fight, a fight that's going to deliver in terms of action, a fight that, depending how it goes, they could, who knows? It's not going to be a blowout either way. I think it's a very competitive fight. Two guys that are going to bring it, fight in that Mexican style. It's a great main event or a great co-feature.
Yeah, I believe so. It's good for TV. I mean, you're not going to see any, boxing, or you won't see the sweet science in that fight. You're just going to see two guys, trade shots and, just throwing hooks and,
Yeah, it's good. Good made for television.
Yeah.
That's if I had the pencil, if I had the book, I'd definitely pick that one.
Mm-hmm.
But he is good. I think he's good. Golden Boy. I'm trying to think. I mean, Ryan Garcia is not going to fight at lightweight again, it seems. And so,
I'd be interested to see who he's going to fight. I mean, I was speaking with our guy Pedro earlier, and he just doesn't think Ryan wants to fight. Like, I mean, he's just there just to be there, you know. So, I mean,
That relationship has gotten really toxic. I don't know, I don't know the legal logistics of it. You know, I don't think he wants to fight under Golden Boy anymore. There has to it's just the jar, the what do you call it, it's broken.
mhm.
The relationship it's ended ugly.
Yeah.
Ryan seems to be very sensitive, um, and Golden Boy has not bit their tongue when it comes to criticism of Garcia. So I think probably gonna either someone's gonna get a buyout out of their contract, or he's just gonna just wait it out.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's a shame. I mean, maybe not for him because he's got paid good money, but it's a shame because we're never gonna know. And to me, I just think right now he's just an average, fighter until he could show something. He hasn't really beaten anybody, relevant, So he beat Campbell, right? The from UK, and he beat the Fortuna.
Luke.
Yeah, he beat Fortuna.
Hmm.
Fortuna was there for a check, in my opinion. I don't think he even trained for that fight. So I mean, Ryan needs to, 140. There's a lot of good fighters there. Like he needs to, get in the ring with somebody and just show me something. Show not just me, just show the fans something. Show that he's a legit contender. But right now, he's just an average guy. You know what I'm saying? So with a name.
Right. He has to show that he has more substance behind him. He, I think, I'm not gonna say he let a lot of people down, but I think it was probably maybe the fight was a little too early in his career, and he just the way it ended. A lot of criticism. People question his heart, question whether or not he could have gotten up.
Yeah.
I thought he fought a game up until the point that he got hit. You know,
Yeah.
and obviously it was a huge attraction. It was still the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Because that's what that as far as numbers goes,
Yeah.
which is saying something. Do I think it's the end of Ryan Garcia? No, I think if Ryan Garcia wants to redeem himself, no, because people love a good comeback story, and I could definitely see him and Tank. It's not out of the realm of possibility they fight each other again. At a heavier weight.
But it would have to be later down the road because
Yeah.
they can't do it like next year or the year after. I don't want to see it. I want to see them continue to win against solid competition. Because even Tank needs to fight, somebody of relevance as well. I mean, he's been fighting. He fought Garcia. He fought two Garcias in a row. The other Garcia came
Hector.
up. Yeah, Hector came up in weight.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'd like to see him fight. Why can't he get in the ring with Shakur, or even Frank Martin,
I think that. Well, I'm. That's an excellent segue. Excellent segue. Let's talk about Frank Martin and Shakur. A couple of weeks ago, we thought we had a good fight lined up. Fell through.
Yeah.
How can anyone, how can Frank Martin justify turning down $1 million payday unless someone whispered in his ear, you got $1 million payday waiting in Tank?
That's the only way I would see him dropping out the fight. There's no other reason for him to drop out that fight. He's 28 years old, right?
Correct.
Never had a title fight.
Never.
This is his first title fight, getting paid $1 million. Now, mind you, okay, is how much is Shakur? Shakur's going to make 3 or 4 to his 1. It's a big, difference. Shakur, is maybe has a more name, but at a lower weight. But at 135, Shakur hasn't really done anything, right? Frank has been at 135. I think Frank and his team really dropped the ball on this. Like
100%.
I don't like to use the word duck. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of aspects into it. It could be the fighter, it could be the manager, it could be the advisor. Who knows? Like told him this. I said no, you can get more, or no, we're gonna get you Tank, or no, we're gonna get you this guy. So I don't like to call people duck because the fighters fighters. A fighter.
Right.
Say a fighter is afraid to fight another fighter. That's tough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't like to do that. Me personally, to say that I'm not a fighter, right? I'm not in the business, of the boxing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to call anybody a duck, but it just seems like a really bad business move and a career move by not taking this fight. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I mean, there's no other way to put it. You can't defend it. Frank Martin's last fight when he fought the Olympian. I'm sorry, the guy was like Armenian or something, or whoever. He fought that guy. He fought in the ballroom, right? Ballrooms do not seat more than like 1,500 people, at most. Okay, so you do the math in terms of what he got paid. All right, there's no way, and Shakur Stevenson, he's not making Canelo money, but I believe his last fight he made like $2 million.
Yeah,
it was
fight, I think it was 2 million. But the fight before that, I heard he made around 3 or 4. He had to give some money to the other guy as a
Brazilian fighter.
Yeah. He was fighting in Newark in his hometown. That's the only reason he got paid pretty decent. But
so you can't defend it. I think the only way that can be defended is that within the next 4 to 6 months he's going to fight Tank Davis, because I mean it's stupid. I mean it seems like it's like it's a nice business move to just sit and wait to get into these rankings and just like kind of like squat and maybe fight for a vacant title, not take the risk. It's like the what do you call it? The path of least resistance. And that stinks. I mean, that's one thing that the UFC does great. Fight fans in the UFC get to see the best fight the best. Granted they don't get paid anything.
Yeah.
But you don't see this type of BS, or at least for the most part. There's no reason Frank Martin.
It's totally different from boxing, because boxing, UFC is world.
They don't have leverage. The fighters don't have leverage in UFC.
Yeah, it's one thing because there's other MMA, I guess organizations you want to call it as well, right? With other fighters. So the UFC is much smaller than than boxing, and obviously they don't pay as much. I mean, I'm sure the higher ups in the UFC, they get paid pretty good, but the fighters are not getting paid, like they should.
Right.
But that's why I think it's easier to make those type of matchups, because they're all one body pretty much, right? You have all these sanctioned bodies in boxing and fighters all over the world with regional titles and European titles and whatever, country titles and stuff like that. UFC is just one sanctioning, one thing, and and got Dana and whoever matchmaking, and they putting in whoever the fans want to see. They pretty much try to do it. So.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Martin has taken a big hit as far as like public opinion. Team Martin, which I believe his manager is on paper Errol Spence and Derek James. I mean, the only way they could save face is we're fighting Tank, or maybe they fight in Pitbull Cruz, which is like okay, it's a good fight, tough fight, but it's just really crazy, and Shakur Stevenson has said some disparaging stuff about him, basically questioned his manhood, and I guess he's got all the right to, and I believe is it Edwin Dos Santos is stepping up now? Is that official?
Yeah, tu gente.
Yeah. So
primo.
Yeah, so let's see. I think that Frank Martin is a really good fighter. He showed me a lot in his last fight, that he had to dig deep, because I think in round 8 or 9, I kind of had that fight, anybody's fight, and he took it. So he showed me heart. Even before that, he easily beat Michelle Rivera, in the fight that was like a step up for both guys.
Yeah.
So it's it's disappointing.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm upset.
disappointing in Martin.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed in
upset
Martin
because I think I'm a fan of Shakur and I'm also a fan of Martin. I like both of them. I thought it was a 50-50 fight. I thought because I think Martin possesses the power, and Martin's defense is very underrated. You know, a lot of people in the last fight said it was a close fight. I thought it was a competitive fight, but I didn't really think it was close because I thought Martin won those rounds. I like the way Martin closed the show out, though, right? That the last couple rounds he closed it out well, but because the guy was throwing punches and whatever, and he was active and competitive, he wasn't really landing punches. I thought Frank was catching most of those punches. If you watch the fight again, a lot of those punches he was catching with his glove. So, you know, with his defense, and that's why I said his defense is very underrated. You know, I really wanted to see the fight. This would have been a good test for Shakur, you know, especially, you know, fighting. Obviously, this would have been his second fight fighting at that weight, you know, for a title. And Frank, first time title shot, being a champion, period, while Shakur has been a champion. You know, that it would have been tough for Shakur, man. I think we would have had a very close fight, real competitive fight. Shakur is not stopping Frank, right? You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna be live the whole fight, in my opinion. You know, I'm just disappointed that we're not gonna see it. You know what I'm saying? So
that's probably the one knock on Shakur. I mean, it's kind of like what Guillermo Rigondeaux was. You know, a boring fighter. I mean, boxing at the end of the day is a form of entertainment and television. You know, and guys that are defensive minded, safety first guys. You know, a nice cure for insomnia. You know, that's just my opinion. I think Shakur probably would beat Frank Martin. I think he's just a class above, and it's not a knock on Frank Martin. I think the one thing Shakur Stevenson, he seems to just every time he rehydrates, he's bigger than all these guys. I think Shakur Stevenson eventually ends up at welterweight. You know, by the time his career is over. You know, so it's disappointing. Now his team is spinning it well. He's the most avoided man in the game. Lomachenko didn't want any part of him. They back and forth with Devin Haney, and now Frank Martin. So let's see what happens with Edwin De Los Santos, who I believe is a game opponent, but I think he's a cut below Shakur Stevenson. But sometimes
I think he's going to give him a good run because he's not afraid of Shakur Stevenson, and I think he's going to go in there trying to, you know, I think he's going to be a dog. I think he's going to go in there trying to hurt him. I mean, I'm picking Shakur to win, but I'm not sleeping on De Los Santos in this fight.
I think the guy that will not the guy, but the type of fighter that gives someone like Shakur Stevenson problems is the same type of fighter that gave Floyd Mayweather problems. An awkward fighter, a guy that's in your face, throwing punches and bunches, a guy that's not afraid, like you said, a guy that's going to hit arms, you know, his shoulders, break you down, outwork you. If you look at Floyd's least impressive performances, Maidana, Jose Luis Castillo, those guys 100 miles an hour the whole night. And I think even a guy that's awkward and smaller, a guy like Emmanuel Navarrete, if they would have caught each other at 130, probably would have gave Shakur Stevenson a very, very, very tough night. So if De Los Santos has that in his mindset, I think he could definitely be competitive with him. You know, and you know, maybe you catch a guy that's overconfident. You know, because Shakur, that arrogance that Shakur Stevenson possesses is that fine line, right? It's like what makes him great, and what could also, you know, make him drunk. Yeah. You know, so it's you know, it's a fine line. So it's like fear, like Mike Tyson, you know, said, you know, custom motto, right? Yeah. It's that fine line, you know, fear and you know, you would have guys defeated before you fought. You know, Shakur, you know, everyone's, you know, I mean, let's keep it a buck. Everyone's, you know, blowing him, right? He's the best. He's the best thing since they put laces in gloves, right?
Well, that's what some people label him, but he hasn't done anything at this weight yet. That's the thing.
But his every time he stepped up, he's made it look so easy. Like but Jamal Herring, this is, you know, was a grown man. And, yeah,
with different
yeah.
animals in this class. These are good fights. I mean, why is he
Excellent fight.
Why is he not yelling for like my man Shelton says? Why is he not yelling for Tank Davis?
Because Tank got no safety, brother. You know that. That Glock got no safety.
I know.
Same way
you love Tank
look,
Davis.
he would sleep Devin Haney. He would sleep him. He would put night.
Tank can sleep anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
if he lands right,
right.
Haney's gonna move.
Shakur may be Tank in a spelling bee.
Yeah, Shakur. so
that's
Tank,
about it.
So what you're saying is Shakur is the man, except for Tank Davis. Tank Davis is the man at the division. That's basically what you're saying.
I think Tank is the man until proven otherwise.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know, because Tank ends fights the way we want to end fights. I'm from the school of Emmanuel Stewart. I'm from the school of Freddie Roach. Every fight should end in a knockout. Period.
I know you like knockouts. That's why you like a lot of certain fighters. I don't really like, but I like boxing too. I want to see knockouts, but
that's part of boxing. That's part of boxing.
I want to see I want to see some. I want to see skill. I want to see a little bit of strategy. I want to see people cutting off the ring. I want to see a mixture of everything. I just don't want anybody going there just throwing haymakers, catching somebody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's what Tank does. I think Tank can box as well. Tank is very fast. Tank can box. You know what I'm saying? So I think Haney's moved up. Haney, obviously undisputed champ. He was the best guy in the division because nobody beat him, right? I think the top three guys in both weights right now. Well, I know we're going to include your guy because I know you're going to mention him anyway. But is Haney, Shakur, and Tank, and then on the outside looking in, I really like Frank Martin. I know you said he's good. You think he's a step. I like Frank Martin, and I know your guy. You're going to say Tio. So I think those are the five guys in those two weight classes that are.
But Tio's 140 now, so I mean,
I said two weight class. I said 135.
Oh, okay.
Because I said Haney as well. Yeah.
And then you got I think you have two guys that you got Cepeda, who's right there, and then you got
but Cepeda
and
been around longer,
and Pitbull Cruz.
I don't like.
I mean,
Cruz at all. I think his last fight was terrible.
Then you have who else? The guy from Massachusetts that fought Lomachenko.
Ortiz didn't look too good. The other
Ortiz,
night,
he fought the same night. He fought a Friday, right? Yeah.
But he didn't look too good. He got hurt a couple of times. I think the weight is killing him. I think he has to move to 140. Yeah, but he's a solid fighter. I mean, I like Ismael Matias. I think
140.
I like Ismael Matias. He's a banger. And
Lomachenko.
And
I mean, you can't discredit. Loma knows at this stage in his career, he's not just taking fights just to take fights. He's looking for big paydays, And I think he's built up enough collateral. I mean, I'm sorry, enough equity that you can respect that.
Yeah.
Like you said, Teofimo Lopez.
I have a feeling that Loma's going to go down and wait and try to fight. Try to get a big fight with one of those with Navarrete or even Inoue. I just have a feeling
that I can see. I can see. Loma Inoue is a nice fight, and that's an interesting fight. Inoue.
I think Loma retires after that. I think that'd be a mistake for Loma, but I have a feeling
to cut down the weight, right?
I just have a feeling Loma is going to drop in weight and try to fight one of these guys like Navarrete or fight like Inoue or somebody. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I think if he drops in weight, he's going to get stretched. I think dropping in weight is a bad thing, but
especially when you get older, it's much more strenuous.
William Old believes the same thing. I think he's been saying that as well. What's up, DP Rocker?
So we mentioned Haney. So there is a date in place against Prograis.
I believe December. I want to say the 9th.
And the venue, is it supposed to be in his hometown of San Francisco, California?
In San Francisco, yes.
Right. So he finally admitted because He's saying that he's from Oakland. He's not from Oakland.
I mean, he was born and raised in San Francisco, but did he?
Yes, he was.
He moved to Oakland, right?
Why would you want to be from Oakland?
Hey, Beast Mode.
He's from San Francisco.
Beast Mode is from Oakland, all right?
That's right. And Andre Ward.
And Andre Ward.
Andre Ward. He's from San Francisco. Bruce Lee was from San Francisco. So
who was from
Bruce Lee?
Yeah. Okay.
Bruce Lee. Yeah. I think that's a hell of a fight. I mean, obviously they're picking Prograis. I think if Prograis would have starched his last fighter,
no. Let me pause you. Haney's a 3-1 favorite.
Right. What I'm saying, if Prograis would have won by knockout in his last fight, I don't think Devin Haney, Team Haney, would be so eager. Right. But like you said, he's a 3-1 favorite. I mean, odds are, people bet more name recognition. Devin Haney's a little bit bigger name than Regis Prograis. I think Regis got caught up in fighting in his hometown. He's from, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Rougarou.
That's where my man William Osco is from.
It's a big city, a big small city, right? And fighting in that type of atmosphere, there's a lot of responsibility in terms of carrying a promotion. And I think that played a part in Prograis' performance. And I think that if Devin Haney thinks it's going to be the same type of night, he is bugging. There's no way that Prograis is going to fight that bad. I know he's not. I think it's going to be a much better fight than what people are anticipating, despite the 3-1 odds.
Let me ask you a question. I never really seen Prograis really be in trouble as far as getting hurt or knocked out or anything like that. But Haney moving up in weight, do you think he gets stronger? Do you think he's a little bit stronger moving up in weight, and filling out the body a little bit more? With your expertise, you do strength and conditioning. Do you think that he'll possess a little bit stronger punching power?
I don't think he'll possess the punching power, but I think it'll help his punch resistance. Okay. He's not gonna deplete his body as much, cutting down in weight. I mean, Devin Haney is a big young man. He's someone that eventually could fill up to be a welterweight easily. So I think that's
where he's gonna end up eventually.
Yeah, that's where the advantage of making the weight. I think punchers are. I think you're born. I could work with a lot of people, and I'm not going to make them a puncher. My job is resistance, and is conditioning, and being the same energy in the first round up to the 10th or 12th round. That's my job. And you can talk to anybody else that does the same stuff. They'll tell you the same thing. These guys are just born with natural punching power. Now, there's guys that are naturally blessed with certain height, and maybe they don't know how to necessarily have the right technique. Yeah, you could twerk that, but I think Devin Haney is not going to be a big puncher at 140. It doesn't mean he's not going to be successful. I mean, guys like Joe Calzaghe, he can't crack an egg, and he retired to be an undefeated Hall of Famer. Paulie Malignaggi, so it happens. You don't have to be a big puncher to be successful.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the extra weight, the extra 5 pounds, is going to be an advantage to Haney. He's not going to deplete himself.
Gotcha. All right. Well, this was pretty good.
Next week.
Hopefully next week we will continue with our football talk. We'll go over our picks that we did. Maybe we'll do some predictions. We got fights next week. We got Zhang and Joe Joyce, which leads me. I haven't heard back from Sean. I don't know if you heard anything, but hopefully we get that conversation with him tomorrow, with Sean George, who is the trainer of Zhang. Good.
Yeah, man. Little flash knockdown. It'd be a great opportunity to speak to Sean George. He's in the UK, so 5-hour difference. We hope to get him big rematch against Joe Joyce. Zhang, he's 40 years old, right?
Yes.
If Zhang were to fight for the heavyweight title, he'd probably have. It's probably the biggest fight that could be made in boxing in terms of eyes.
Against which champion?
When I say champion, I have
does it matter. So if he fights Usyk or Fury,
Fury. I think Fury. Yeah, I think Fury. I mean, Usyk obviously, he owns 2 belts, but I don't think he's recognized as the man. I'm talking about the lineal champ. I mean,
he has all the belts except the WBC, except the green belt.
Is it 2? He's got the BO, and the IBF. I mean,
IBF and the BA. Yeah, he got all of them except
yeah.
the WBC.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about Zhang, he's really improved.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked 2 years ago he looked horrible, and then he looked great against Joe Joyce. So if he improves off of that fight, him and Tyson Fury is an excellent fight, considering obviously if Tyson Fury takes care of what he has to do in that exhibition fight. That's a fight that's very marketable and a huge fight in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, because of China. I mean, Zhang will bring a big audience to China. What they could do is they could make that fight like they did. I mean, they used to do it, back in the day. Make that fight during the week like they did the Inoue and Fulton fight. I think it does.
Why not?
Yeah, I think that's what they should do. Even if he fought Usyk, I think the same thing. I think it's a big fight. I think and it sells, and I think it'll do great all over the world. So
I agree. So there's a big fight. I mean, Joe Joyce obviously has something to say about it. So that's it's an intriguing matchup. That's next week.
Next week, next Saturday. Has a Chinese person ever challenged for the world heavyweight title?
Wow, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't.
I do not. I don't know. I'm not even a cap. I don't know. I want to say no.
And this is also a good fight too. Top prospect Richardson Hitchens will be fighting Jose Cepeda. That's another big fight.
Richardson Hitchens, a lot of talent, but do not sleep on Jose Cepeda. Jose Cepeda, he lost to Regis Prograis. Richardson Hitchens has to be on his P's and Q's because Cepeda can punch. He's fighting an adult. That's what I'm gonna say. And he's alive. He's an underdog, but he's a live dog, and he can crack. And I think Richard Hitchens has got a lot of talent. He's not a big puncher, but he has defensive lapses. And if he does that against Cepeda, we could be saying, "Whoa, upset," or the kid got derailed. But it's a really good fight. I think that's next week as well. That's right.
Yeah,
So we had a good got something to look forward to.
Yeah,
and then
fights in the afternoon, and then fights at night because the Joyce it's in the UK, so that'll be like around 6:00, probably around then Eastern time, of course. And then the Hitchens, I believe, will be later on in the evening.
Right. Trying to think what else happened in boxing.
This
week,
Saturday, we had the confirmation on some fights, the Shakur and De Los Santos. We got Adrian Broner signed. He's going to fight November 4th.
That's what I want. It's Don King, right? Putting out another show.
Yeah, Don King. November 4th, I believe.
Is that in Florida?
I want to say yes, and I was just talking to Pedro about it earlier today, which is funny. We was talking not on the show, but just on a sidebar on the phone, and we were just talking about it.
Pedro who?
Fernandez.
All right, Pedro Fernandez from Ring Talk.
Ring Talk Worldwide.
That's right. The longest running radio show, boxing radio show on the planet.
38 years.
Knocking out all bums.
That's our little plug for today.
That's right. Our mentor, Pedro Fernandez.
Yeah. I'm going to ask him to come on. Maybe
the only ones that the only person who's not a bigger fan than Pedro Fernandez is Pedro Fernandez himself.
I'm just gonna forewarn you now. He has told me he has watched my YouTube channel. I don't know how true that is, but if he watches it, he's gonna see what you just said.
Hey, it's okay. I know Pedro for a long time. I've earned equity.
Yeah, so I don't know. He mentioned something. I want to say he was trying to get in touch with Don King because he used to work with Don King or for Don King. I don't know if he said he wanted to maybe go and cover it or something. He said something to that effect, but we were definitely talking about it. But Adrian Broner, did they announce an opponent or they just said it was Adrian Broner?
Yeah, I don't think they mentioned an opponent. Yeah,
okay.
I mean that'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean that'd be great. I mean they had the broadcast team was they did like an independent pay-per-view. They had their own team and stuff. So unfortunately, that's where none of the major networks are messing with DKP.
No.
So he's got to do his own thing. I'm glad to see Adrian Broner back in boxing. I think he's great for boxing. I love Adrian Broner.
Me too.
Yeah, AB.
Yeah. I just hope he just stays on the right track and just, takes it serious. And because he's good I think he's good for boxing. Boxing needs Adrian Broner.
We need characters.
Yeah, we need him. And he's a good fighter. His last fight, I thought he looked okay, especially in the early rounds. I thought he looked really good. His hands were still fast. I thought he kind of tired, halfway through the fight and kind of carried the guy in the fight. But maybe this fight now, he just had a fight. He's more conditioned, and maybe we'll see a stoppage of some sort. But definitely looking forward to that. Definitely.
Yeah, and so depending who they put against him, I guess Adrian Broner needs to stay busy. He needs to be focused on training because there's a lot of distractions that he's had to deal with. A lot of them his own doing. I mean, he's a grown up, so he can't just cap for an adult. You control your own destiny. Most of the time. So, but like I said, I'm a big fan of Adrian Broner. He's good for the game. He's good for what we do, right? Yeah. He's always good for material. And on a personal note, I think he's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, I have nothing really bad to say about Broner. I actually was worried about Broner for a while because I thought he had maybe some mental issues and stuff, personal stuff, and but I always rooted for Broner inside and outside of the ring. I want to see him do well. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for tonight. Hope that we get lucky enough, and I know we're scheduled for tomorrow at 12 to maybe do a recording with Sean. Hopefully that goes through. If it does go through, we will post it later on during the week. But we're hopefully going to get an interview with Sean George, who's the trainer of Zilzang. Tomorrow it'll be me. Hopefully Sock will make it. I know we're both working. I work from home, so I'm going to try to maneuver it. So hopefully Sock. I told Drew Titan about it, and I also told D Free. I think Drew would be good for this interview because I think he'll be good with you, Sock, and throw the questions. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll intervene. As much as Sean can give us. And then we'll take it from there. But that's why I think this would be good. Hopefully, knock on wood, it works out. You know what I'm saying? So,
right, and that's what this channel is going to continue to bring. We're gonna keep bringing in guests. We're gonna grow, and it's like I said, we're the best kept secret on YouTube, and sky's the limit.
Yeah, sky's the limit, and it's all for fun. I mean this. It's nothing, I'm not trying to make a buck out of this. I'm just trying to, do this for fun, have open conversation. I welcome people on the panel, at times too. We had a few people on. We had D, we had G5. And there you go with the fumble, like the Raiders. Oh, my bad. And then
we had three turnovers these motherfuckers had this week.
Yeah.
They can't. Yeah, I mean, all these all these dudes was fucking running Derek Carr out of town, but we got this noodle arm motherfucker.
That's your guy. You always like Jimmy G.
I like Jimmy G because Jimmy G gets bitches, man.
But he ain't giving you bitches. He's supposed to quarterback and throw touchdowns.
That's right. That's right. So I am about to give him another week. If we lose to the Steelers, which I believe is going to be embarrassing because it's Sunday night. It's Sunday night. There's going to be a whole bunch of bandwagon Steeler fans making out to Vegas. I mean, the Steelers travel well. Yeah. A lot of dudes in their 50s that are Steeler fans are all bandwagon fans. Unless you're born in Pittsburgh, you're a wagoner.
Well,
by
the way,
fuck you and your mama.
No, hey, come on. We have a Pittsburgh fan here from New Mexico, and he's a great dude. It's Skywalker. I believe he's a Steelers fan. All right. And,
like Charles Barkley said.
As a Raider fan, he does not like the Steelers. So it's like me with the 49ers. I can't stand the 49ers and their fans. And I know many Niner fans. My brother, blood brother, not Socrates' brother, but my blood brother, same mom and dad, is a Niner fan, and fuck him too. So just so you know, that's how we get when we talk about our team. So
if he another stinker, then I'm ready to bench his ass and bring in the guy from Purdue, Aiden O'Connell, had a really good preseason. But I just hate I hate our coach. I hate
he's how he has a job. Especially last year they threw a lot of games too. But
yeah,
that's a Friday conversation.
Yeah, I just want to slap the visor off his head. I hate it. The only cool dude to wear a visor was Steve Spurrier in college.
That is true. Yeah.
All these other fucking nerds. I hate them. Anyways,
right, guys, see, Sock is very frustrated at the end of the show.
Yeah.
This is show. Nice interview. Thank you to Maelo for coming through, giving us an interview. We wish him all the best of luck. Wednesday is the fight. I'll be promoting the fight as much as I can on either on YouTube, in the next couple of days, and on Instagram. Take a look. Hopefully, he reps the Bronx well. I think he will. I think he's going to get a dub. Hopefully in a knockout fashion. That's what we're looking for. You know what I'm saying? But, all the best to him. He's a great guy. I've met him personally as well. Sock works with him, so thank you to Maelo. Thank you, Sock, as always, for co-hosting and bringing the guest on. Appreciate you. And we hope to, like I said, tomorrow get Sean. And, we'll keep going from there. We'll talk sports. We'll invite people on. We'll shoot the shit. You know what I'm saying? So any last words, Sock?
Let's hope for a really good week in boxing. Let's get some big fights signed.
Yes.
Let's get that. That's what we want. Let's stop dancing around. I mean, I'm a big Tyson Fury fan, but I'm not a fan of what he's doing. He's kind of hijacking the heavyweight title. Let's get the biggest fights made possible. And 2 weeks we got Canelo and Charlo, right?
Canelo and Charlo is the following week. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, we'll be talking that, analyzing that.
Yeah.
And,
yeah,
that's what it is, man.
This week coming up is good fights. We'll talk about that more Friday. And, I just want to say thank you for everybody that came through. Much love. Shout out TWT, the family. Appreciate every one of y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're going to collab on some stuff later on, hopefully throughout, the end of this year and continue to 2024. Shout out to my man Jose for letting us use the Bronx logo as a logo. I'll be rocking some stuff hopefully soon. Follow him at thebronxlogo.com and the Bronx Logo on Instagram, spelled out, the Bronx Logo. And that's it. Until next week, cheers, everybody.
So long.